Hello, I'm Michelangelo Badio. I'm Joey, and this is my show today. We're gonna talk about stuff. And you know what kind of stuff? Me. Who do you want to see? Joey, shut up. Okay. See, I'm even starting to talk like him. Robert has been on tour. We did 3 tours this year. Joey and Robert. Robert is angry. He wants to play. Joey feels that he's the star of the show. And what I want to talk about today is a couple things. Hey, Denny, how are you? It's good to see you. And I wanted to just say this, that one of the things that Sawtooth recently did is they not redesigned, but they added some things to the string dampener. What we did was, my original string dampeners, the ones I have the patent on, were well over $100 because they were made in the USA and every little component was made here, and it was very expensive. So when we wanted to reduce the price, I mean, it's kind of like having a capo or a slide. Even if you don't use it, we wanted to make the dampener an accessory that was affordable. So what happened? Okay, let's see. Ben, Greg, Magno, Brett. Hello, everybody. I'm just looking at names here. Stefan, Phil. Hey, JD, how are you? Good talking to you today, you and Brian. Sean. But one of the things about the string dampeners that we realized is that when you take something that's well over $100 and you try to make it $20 for everybody to be able to afford, some corners were cut. And so what happened was the less expensive string dampener didn't work quite as well as the super expensive one. And so we re-engineered a couple things. Now, it's still my patent, but we upgraded some of the parts, and they work really good. Yeah, like Denny said, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. That is my mantra, and I totally live by that. One of the things we wanted with the string dampener that now we feel we can finally do, this is the first product that I did with Sawtooth and Chromacast. It dates back well over 10 years. And we've had such success with my guitar designs and working together. And we really realized that the very first product we did, neither one of us had established that big working relationship that we have now. And so the original string dampeners from Chromacast weren't quite up to what they should have been. And now we've made a lot of improvements over the years, but we made a major improvement recently with the types of screws and how it works. And what I can tell you is this. I've always envisioned the string dampener as an accessory that maybe you use all the time. I love to use them. But maybe it's something you only use when you record. And it's kind of like a slide or a capo or certain string winders. They are accessories that you have in your collection of stuff for guitar, but it might not be necessarily something you use all the time. And now we have really perfected it. And, you know, the thing that I love about the string dampener, when you see the double, it's really clean. Okay. Somebody asked about diminished and symmetrical scales. Symmetrical. Okay. You know what the word symmetrical means. You know, everything's even. There's one symmetrical scale, a whole tone scale. That's it. I mean, because so whole steps. Now, one of the things I can say now, too, and then I'll get back, because I love to read the comments. I've got a video screen right here so I can see everything, courtesy of Adam, who's always here directing all the audio and video. One of the things that I've realize. Now, most of you that know me know that I have a degree in music theory and composition, but I'm going to equate music theory to modern day sushi. You have fusion sushi now. I have actually seen chicken sushi. Now, that's an unusual one, but I've seen it. And so people today, the way they learn theory, they're changing the classical way that I learned. And so like words like appoggiaturas or non-chord tones, people are assigning new things to them. And they're assigning, even something like well-tempered tuning. Well, there's a guitar scale that doesn't even call it well-tempered. And so they're changing the way that I learned in the classical sense. So words today are used in music theory that really are not in the Harvard Music Dictionary, and there's sure nothing that I learned, and this is my expertise. So a lot of times now when I hear some phrases, I have to say, well, what are you talking about? Like equal temperament tuning. What? These are words that are 21st century words. Our tuning, the well-tempered clavier. Bach called it well-tempered. There were two tunings back then. One was mathematically perfect, but the problem was it was only perfect in a couple keys, and the farther away from that perfection you got, the farther out of tune other keys were well-tempered was they detuned certain notes so that all the different keys were available. The out of tuneness, the detuning of the notes is imperceptible basically to the human ear. And so there's a lot of things that, when people say different words or put combinations of words together to describe music theory, this stuff, they're making it fusion, just like sushi. It's not like, areas we have a California roll. Okay, yeah, but we have a California roll with chicken breast, and yes, we're going to put some lamb on there too. What are you talking about? You got a Euros? You want Euro sushi? And so, they call it fusion. And so we are seeing that now in modern music theory. It's a fusion of what the past was, and also it's kind of rewriting things, but hey, it's not like it's wrong. But so I hear some of these, they say learn theory and forget about it. That's actually a really good thing. Somebody just said poised for duty. But here's the thing that you want to do. You want to learn music theory and forget about it when you're playing music. But when you hear a song or you hear a piece or you hear a solo and you need to understand harmonically or melodically what it is, then you use your theory. And that's exactly what I do. I will listen to music as music because I feel music. But then, for example, Killer Queen by Killer Queen. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, what? Or like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Or you can take a lot of songs, especially older songs, like old Beatles songs. For the benefit of Mr. Kite, there would be a show tonight on trampoline, and the bass is all over the place. These aren't your stock ACD chords. ACDs. So what I have to do sometimes is I hear the feel of the music, then I put my music theory cap on, and I listen and I analyze what's going on. So, but let's see, the stars are closer than you might think. I don't know what that actually means, but I would agree, I guess. Let's see, what is the best starting point for two fingers tapping? Van Halen, Randy Rhoads. They're not the originators of it. There was tapping before, but I don't think anybody can argue too much that Eddie Van Halen popularized it. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but nobody really tapped that much on guitar. It was like I didn't even know it existed until I heard Eddie Van Halen. So you gotta say pretty much he popularized it. If you want to go for two finger tapping, I mean, if you're talking about multiple fingers, that's different. But basic tapping, Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, these guys wrote the book on really melodic playing using two-finger tapping. How would tapping sound before electric? That's a good question. I don't think they would do it. And why? Because it wasn't loud enough. You need some electronics to make tapping work. Now, could you do things like, for example, like a stuff like that. It works. I'm using a clean sound. You can tap because you have harmonics, fundamentals, 12 frets. Every 12th fret you create a harmonic. So all I have to do is this, but tapping in the Van Halen sense is really, really wasn't done until the electric guitar. A couple other questions here, and then I'll get back to the string dampeners. Am I still touring? Manowar just got off the road. Just to clarify anything you heard, especially from some former guitar players of the band, I am their permanent guitarist. I'm in the band. I'm a band member of Manowar. We're recording. We've always been recording. That's how I got in the band. I've actually been in Manowar working with them for over 2 years, but it wasn't solidified. And, we started off as the touring guitar player. I met Evie, their interim guitarist in Brazil, a super nice guy, great player, he's really nice. And, he took a hiatus. And so it kind of worked out for me to be, everything just worked out. And I love being in Manowar. And so the touring that I'm going to do, I might do some sporadic shows. I mean, I've had, erase that Carl Logan thing. Don't even talk about that stuff. I don't know anything about that. That's BS to even bring this stuff up. But anyway, so what I can say is this, that, if you could erase that, Adam, just delete it.
On our screen, I can't, but it's been removed.
What's that?
It's been removed.
Oh, okay. So anyway, but if somebody asks a stupid question, I can't answer it. But when I'm talking about Manowar, I'm the permanent guitar player, and I love being in the band. And I found the perfect. There was a misconception in the very beginning that the fans wanted to hear me play solos exactly like the record, but Joey and Eric didn't want me to do that. They wanted me to be me first and integrate with the band. And it's an evolutionary process, and this is not a religious thing or even political. It's just you find out as you're going along how things work. And with somebody like me who's already a known guitar player coming into a really known band, well, I've been doing my own music for 30 years. Nobody's told me what to do for decades. And so to be in a band like Manowar with geniuses like Joey, he's an absolute genius. I mean, what he does with writing, I mean, they've gone through a bunch of different guitar players and drummers, but the writing has been consistently awesome for decades. It's not one guitar player that makes Manowar, it's Joey. And then he happens to have this unbelievable singer and frontman in Eric. I mean, Eric is amazing. The guy sings like a bird, and he can hit the highs, hit the lows, and I saw we did it. And so to be in a band like Manowar, I had to kind of find my own footing too, because the rhythm guitar is really important. I've always had the rhythm part down. With the leads, as we kept playing, I started to realize I have to do more to how I can say it, to play more of the original solos, but some solos like Battle Hymn, I don't even really improvise it. It's so standard. Or like King of Kings, it's another one. Hail and Kill, we just did a playthrough of that one, and it's blowing up because what I found my place where I have a great ear for this, so I know exactly how they played it, and then there's little spots where I can add the MAB. And so we found a really, really good marriage, and you hear of how I can integrate myself in with the band, and I'm loving every second of it. I love working with Joey and Eric, and Dave's a great drummer and super nice guy. So, when you ask about touring, I'm going to be, Manowar's my main thing. So when they tour, I tour. As far as other shows, it just depends. I've done solo shows for decades. I've done clinics, but that era for me is over. I'm in an arena band. It's arena rock, and so that's what I do, and I love every second of it. Let's see, and I can't I can't say how much it means that I get your support as well. Now, getting back to these string I think it's a great device, because a lot of people use fret wraps because, when tapping, especially on a guitar, when you put here's what this does. See, the updated one works really great, and it works like the super expensive USA one. And we wanted this affordable, so I can finally say, you can get one of these and you're going to be really happy. And this is the first product we did together. So there was a little bit of growing pains. And, I didn't know the people at Sawtooth as well as I know them now. And they didn't know me as well. We have a great, working relationship. But when it comes to these dampeners, when you're doing tapping, even swing, like... The idea is to block extraneous string noise. So if you're going like, somebody said two-handed tap in. But do you hear how clean that is? And it's because partly when you're tapping, you're going like, you're whacking that guitar, oh yeah. And then not only that, but you're dealing with amplifiers, you're dealing with noise, you're dealing with loudness. So you're going, and so what happens is sometimes strings ring out, you don't want to ring out. And so people have been using handkerchiefs and cloths over guitars forever. There are going to be the areas, the pundits, well, I don't think that's very correct. I think that you're cheating. Shut up! You're not cheating. What you want to do, what is the goal? To get the sound you want and do it as good as you can. Well, this is a tool to help. Why do you think people use fret wraps? I made a joke. The only kind of wrap I want is around chicken or beef with cheese, lettuce, tomato, and mayo. Lots of mayo. And so I want a wrap. That's the only kind of wrap I'm going to get with fries. And so I don't like fret wraps that much. And one of the reasons I don't is because you have to move them up and down to find where it's going to dampen the strings. And also, if you have a locking trem, you're stuck. See, where something like this, it has enough dampening action that you can... So I can dampen anywhere on the guitar. You've seen me play the double guitar on the upper frets. This dampens it right before a fundamental. See, these fret markers are not just for a road map. They're fundamentals. They're mathematical. In other words, when you have the 12th fret, this is supposed to literally be exactly between the nut and the 12th fret and the 12th fret and the bridge. Why do you think you have micro adjustments? Because nothing's perfect in this world. And so each one of these lines is, it tells you 5th, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 19, 21, 24. It does that for sure. But it also indicates where a fundamental is, which means you can go... And so every 12th fret, you create a new fundamental. For example, so every 12th fret creates its own fundamental. And the interesting part of this is it goes right. It can go as far as the 2nd fret, or these are adjustable and you can move it to the 1st fret. These work really well. My USA ones work so freaking good. I mean, they were amazing. And when we made the less expensive one, because not everybody has $100+ to shell out for a device that they might not even use all the time. But when we made these, we didn't calculate some of the things that, you know, it didn't go through the Q and the quality control process that we have now. Like, we're so sure of how we all work together. We know pretty much, you know, we get the samples. We thought this was going to work amazing, and we found little things because the materials weren't quite up to what we thought they should be. And so we've redesigned some of this. It looks the same, but it works really, really well like this. And so I can't stress it enough. If you're interested in getting something and you don't, the brilliant thing about this is you just move it up out of the way. And then it's easy to put back down, you know. You know, and I like to do all Now, somebody asked if it'll fit on all neck profiles. It fits 6-string guitars, 7-string guitars. I'm not so sure on an 8-string because I really don't have 8 strings. I have 7 strings, but 7 strings is enough for me. You know, when you get down to 8 strings, why have a bass player? I mean, and it's not a criticism of 8-string guitars. I really like them, but you are encroaching in their frequencies. And are you a guitarist or a bass player? And so it gets to the point where, you know, you're competing against your own bass player. So why have a bass player? And so I'm not criticizing 8 strings. I'm just giving you an observation. When I'm recording, even 7-string guitars, it starts encroaching on the low end. But if the bass player has a 5-string bass with a low B, then he can move it down a 4th as well, just like I can with a 7. These work really good on 6 strings, 7 strings, on different, it's not so much the neck profile because this doesn't go around the neck. See, the string dampener is not like a fret wrap. And so the string dampener goes behind the nut, so it has nothing to do with the neck profile. What it has to do is the width of the neck. And also, if you have a headstock that is straight or it's curved, this will work on both. And like, for example, the sawtooth headstocks are slightly curved. Others are more curved. These will work on both. The only thing that you have to do, there's nothing to screw into your guitar. It's not going to damage anything, but you do have to take the truss rod cover off, which I'd take it off a lot anyways. But I really think these dampeners are great. And like I said, when I invented this and got the patent, we used super high-end components. They were all handmade here in the United States. They were really expensive. Now, to get them made, if I wanted to sell them, if we inquired about like doing a super high-end version, we can't get them for like under $175 to you. That's how expensive all the parts are in this economy. And so, you know, is it really worth spending as much on a string dampener as a guitar? Some people say yes, some people say no. Some people say they want the best. Some people say, that's too much, you know. So we made a calculated decision to what can we do to make the ones that are affordable to you the best we can possibly do. And that's what we did. And so, yeah, somebody said inflation. Oh, hey, Al Bain for leather. He's the one who made my leather pants. They've been holding up really good. And I've lost some weight, getting in shape, so they fit really good. I had Al make them really skinny, and I'm like, oh, they're too tight, dude. But yeah, they look great. Hi, Al. We've been friends forever, since the 80s in LA. Where did your name originate from? Italy. Battio. But in America, we say Badio, like radio. Let's see. Get 8-string, no bass players. Well, somebody's right about that. If that's what you want. If that's your music, somebody wrote, get an 8-string, no bass player. If you're goofing around, hey, great. But if you're being serious, that's entirely up to you. I'm not a judge or a critic or a jury or an executioner. If that's your music and you don't want a bass player, hey, I think why not? Let's see. Will you be at Sawtooth anytime this fall? Yes, I will be at Sawtooth right after the American Thanksgiving holiday. So it'll be like around the 29th, 30th of November, and I'll be there for 2 weeks, so I'll be signing a ton of guitars. Let's see. Somebody asked an interesting question here. I released an album called C4. Now, where I got the name from is C4 is an explosive like nitro. C4 was a really good band. We had a great singer named Dan Leniger. He still plays locally in Chicago. He's a good friend of mine. And, all the guys in the band were really cool. The drummer, unfortunately, had passed away many years ago, but I still get along great with the other members. C4, that album was actually a collection of some Nitro songs and some Holland songs, two bands I was formerly with. One of my favorite songs on there is C4 is not a bomb, it's an explosive, yes. I wouldn't say it's a bomb. It's an explosive. It's a highly volatile explosive. But yeah, I guess you could call it. But anyway, on C4, that album, like there's a song called All I Want Is You that was a Nitro song. And of course, we did the song Gotta Run, which is a really well-known song of mine. We also did a song from Holland that was called That's When It Hurts. And I always liked that song because it was kind of like almost like an Aerosmith type song. And these are songs that really never made the album. A couple of them did, the Holland album, but like in Nitro, I wanted to release some of my songs that people hadn't really heard as much, and I wanted to reimagine them. The song Gotta Run, or the song Call to Arms, and not the Manowar one, but one I wrote right around the same time. Let's see. So anyway, but what I can say is that that song had never been recorded. I actually introduced that song in the band Holland, and Tom did a great job singing it, the singer, and we did a demo of it, but it was too heavy for the band. It didn't feel that it fit their style, but as I was always Mr. Metal. And let's see, do you have the cover guitar from the Essential MAB? Yes, I do. It's called the MAB 1 Armor Flame. They're not in production anymore because it was a Dean guitar, and Dean I don't even know what's going on with that company. I don't pay much attention, but I know it's not, when the owner passed away, I had to make a decision. He passed away a long time ago already, 2017. So it's, we're looking at almost 7 years ago. And so I've been out of Dean for a long time, and I wish them the best. I have no ill will or ill feelings towards it. I just don't know much about what's going on with them. Let's see, but yeah, the guitar on there was called the MAB 1 Armor Flame, and was one of my signatures. I've designed many dozens of signature guitars, and all the ones we've done at Sawtooth are super successful. We have years of experience of me designing guitars, and in Sawtooth, their manufacturing is amazing. And getting back to that, that's what we did with the string dampener. Like I said, it was our first thing together, and Sawtooth really didn't have much to say about the design. We just went off, okay, this is how I do it, blah, blah, blah. But as we developed the relationship, then we realized we need specific little part changes. And that's what we did on this latest one. So the price is really great. If you don't have one, this is the time to get them. If you do have one, it's like with fret wraps. I actually bought every kind I could find to see if I actually liked them. And bass ones, guitar ones. I had like 10 different kinds so that I knew what I was talking about when I'm talking to you. But I have to say, in my humble opinion, these completely annihilate fret wraps. And there's a few reasons. One, they just dampen so good. But here, I just pull this up. You can do this. The fret wrap can't do that. You have to pull that over the nut of the guitar to get that. This does not impede the strings at all. So you can play the guitar without it. And then when you feel like putting it up. No, not Dean Zielinski. Dean Zielinski is still a friend. Somebody wrote, oh my God, Dean Zielinski died. He was the founder of Dean Guitars, kind of like the McDonald's brothers founded McDonald's, but it was Ray Kroc from McDonald's who brought it to a global business that it is today. Dean Zelinsky founded Dean, but he sold the company. And in the mid 1990s, a guy named Elliot Rubinson bought Dean. Elliot was one of the most amazing humans on this planet. He was like family to me. He was family to my family. And I was really close to him, his wife, his son for many years. His son and I, his son took over the company. I left the company. I don't know much about what his son's doing, but Elliot's the one who passed away. Elliot's the one who turned Dean into a global company. He's the one. Dean Zelinsky did a phenomenal job. He took it this far, and then Elliot took it global. And it's the same like the McDonald's brothers took McDonald's this far. Ray Kroc took it over and brought it global. So there's an analogy there. Let's see. Okay, why don't you use your old guitars? Because I don't endorse them. And I've got over 253 guitars. If you endorse, why doesn't Dave Mustaine play his Deans? So, I mean, why do you think? I mean, I don't mean that to sound condescending, but it doesn't make any sense. And I've designed great new guitars. So, this is a business thing. And will we see his double neck? I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so let's see. I think we've kind of summed it up here. We've talked about the string dampener. I talked about Man O' War a little bit. Metal Method Speed Kills, it's still continuing to do great. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, Speed Kills will still be relevant because the course was built off of my foundation in orchestral and classical music about how people studied piano for over a century. So there's a lot of great new techniques and a lot of great teachers out there. And I would never discount anyone who's teaching guitar, teaching anything. It's probably one of the most noble things a person can do to give to the next generation or give what they know. I was criticized very early in my career when I started doing instructional programs. They said, "You show too much." And I thought two things. One, if I'm afraid to show what I know to help you, what does that mean for me? That I'm afraid somebody's going to beat me on guitar? I'm not in competition with any of you. The only competition I have is, am I the guitar player today that I think is better than yesterday? My competition is within myself. I tried my best my whole life to help you and to give you and show you everything I know. And I'm living proof that it works. I mean, Man O' War just played 4,000 meters above sea level. That's over 2 miles, 2 different shows. The air is thin. You had to take medication. We weren't even really taking the medication. We all played for 2 hours like warriors on stage. There was no breaks in the action. We played a 2-hour show as intense as if it was on sea level. And so, and the point is this, that you give it your all. I give it my all to help you, but it's helped me because I practice what I preach. I tell you what I do. You don't have to take it all. I'm not a judge for you. I don't say, oh, you should only listen to this guitar just because this guitar player sucks. I know a lot of teachers who do that. Or they're like, well, you shouldn't listen to this band. You should listen to this. To me, it's like, it's like, Arias, don't you know that we are the exalted ones? Arias, we know more than you. No, you don't. You don't know more than me. And I've been out there for 30 years playing thousands of shows from arenas to clinics. So if I say something, I think that it comes from experience. And if I don't lie to you, which I don't lie, I'm not a saint. I'm not trying to be a role model, but I'm not a liar. If I say, this is what I do, this is what I do. It's just like when somebody asks me, well, how come you don't play your old guitars? Because I don't play them. I play my sawtooth guitars. That's why. I like my old guitars. I love them, and I'm proud of them. But I got a huge collection. I play what I use, and I'm not using them. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Somebody remember EVH again? Of course, Yeah, I did a big tribute to him. I know he passed away, and I met him. I've talked to him, at length, just me and him. I know Wolf, his son, But anyway, I wanted to just say, regarding the string dampeners, it's the one product we didn't get right the first time. We thought we did, but we didn't. And we tried all these little things and we finally nailed it because we had to replace some parts. We just really deconstructed this and said, without changing the patent, we said, what the heck is going on? Why is the USA one smoking this one? And obviously it's 10 times the price, but forget that. So we changed some of the components, but it's still the same design, and man, does it work great. Okay, I think, let's see, Speed Kills video, we talked about that, talked about Metal Method. Speed Kills is still doing great. It's still a great instructional program, and I stand by every word. So, nothing's changed for me in 30 years about that. Also, the Michelangelo Badio group, just called Michelangelo Badio, we did an acoustic version of Freight Train. And we're also doing Long Way From Home from Nitro. And Jim Gillette and I, the singer, are super close. We're like family members. And our singer in the MAB group, Nils, has a great voice. But I talked about Jim because it's really, really difficult to sing Jim Gillette. His range was astronomical, but he could sing high and clean and not just rasp and hold notes for 30 seconds. So I had his blessing on this to redo Long Way, and the song Freight Train makes for a really cool acoustic version. I had to do the guitar solo, and I rearranged some of it, but I had to play close to the original tempo. That's what we did the song in, an octave lower on acoustic. And we finished it. It's all ready to go. I posted some excerpts that blew up online, but you're going to be seeing that in the next 2 to 4 weeks. It's already finished. We're just putting it in the pipeline to do an official release. Somebody asked me about scallop frets. I love Yngwie Malmsteen to death. I don't like scallop frets. I don't like them. And there's one reason. I understand the vibrato, but I have a great vibrato anyway. I don't need scallop frets to get a really smooth, clear vibrato. I don't like the rhythm sound of scallop frets. I love Yngwie to death, but can you imagine Yngwie playing Metallica or Metallica playing Yngwie? Metallica's rhythm sound is so balls out. The Man-O-War rhythm sound. It's very difficult to get that with scallop frets. There's some kind of sound that comes with rhythm guitar. Richie Blackmore, another amazing guitar player. Yngwie, really, he's one of my all-time favorite guitarists. I just don't care for scallop frets myself. I don't like the rhythm sound of scallop frets. That's really it. It's not me. Doesn't mean it's not really good. I cannot see playing balls out metal with scallop frets. I can't see going, playing For Whom the Bell Tolls, or, even playing Man-O-War songs with scallop frets. I just can't see it. It doesn't have that tone. It's not, and it's very easy to go sharp. You just press it in a little bit too much. Next thing you know, and so I prefer this type of neck. Now, Steve Vai on his guitar scallop frets at the top. That's cool. But I would venture to say, if I had the same guitar as him without scallop frets on the top end, and I played on the top end, on the scalloped, and on this, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I think once it gets that high up, it's more for show or more for looks, cosmetic. I don't think it has much. The only thing you can do, because when you're like Uli John Roth, he has frets that the frets are between 2 frets. So what he has to do, it doesn't go from A sharp, B. It goes like from A to B. Now it goes up a little higher on a sky guitar, so he has to tune up that half step like a violin. Completely different concept. But so that's it. Now would love to scallop from the 12. See, that's what I'm saying. Why not? Vai did it. My question is, does it really make that much of a difference, that high? If I had that and I played it for you, I'd venture to say there might be a fraction amount of difference, but I think it would be almost imperceptible to the ear. If you close your eyes and I play scallop fingerboard from the 12th fret on versus a normal fretboard, normal fingerboard, I don't know. I mean, I haven't tried it, but I don't think, especially when you think about the guitars that are scaled way high, how can that make that much of a difference? You're only talking about 4 or 5 frets, and they're the highest part of the guitar. So, but anyway, and again, is it a bad thing, scallop? Of course not. I'm only trying to explain what I hear, what I think, and leave it up to you. I'm not criticizing them. Yngwie, again, is one of my all-time favorite guitar players. I know his discography well. I have his latest record. I was there at his very first show with Steeler. I was on Shrapnel Records like he was. So we go back to the first show. I'm a huge fan. I'm a fan of Steve Vai's. And all I was saying is that when you scale up this high, I'm not so sure that means anything. Maybe it does. Maybe it does to Steve. He likes it. It's on his guitar. But for someone like me, I don't see an advantage in the vibrato at all. And it's sure not going to make a rhythm sound. I mean, how many guitar players play rhythm guitar up here? Not anybody, I think. Okay, so anyway, it's the feel that's better. Somebody said that. Is it? For you. Not for maybe a lot of other people. See, again, it's subjective. That's not a statement of fact. It's a subjective statement. It feels better. Well, my guitar feels better for me. So who's right? See, again, I'm not here to determine who's right or wrong. I'm just saying, for me, scallop frets do a certain thing, and that thing that they do is not something that I do. So anyway, that's it. It's taste. Yeah, and then how much is the redesigned string dampener? It's still very inexpensive. Sawtooth can put up a graphic where you can get it. Also, if you use the MAB 20, you always get 20% off. But anyway, I think I've talked enough today. And then I'm going to be here next week, and we're going to start advertising. So I'm going to be doing more live streams. I've done 3 big tours this year. That's enough for me. I'm done. And I'll be in LA for 2 weeks. I'm going to be recording with the Manowar guys. A lot of great stuff's going on. And I'm truly, truly grateful and humbled that thank you so much for the support over the years, the support now. I'm just loving every second of it. And I hope from my teaching you understand one thing. I'm only here to explain techniques, and I'm only here to say this mechanics. I'm not here to say what's better or worse, or I just say some things I like better. For example, I like a string dampener better than a fret wrap. Some people might like fret wraps. Andy James likes fret wraps. I'm not going to say he sucks. He's a great guitarist. So I'm not trying to convince anybody other than this. These work great, and the price is right now. They work great, and I like to have stuff. Like if you go in my other room, I have everything from maracas. I got a cowbell. I got a couple of them, so I can have more cowbell. I've just got things in the studio that every once in a while I use. Different slides. I've got different capos. And so the string dampener to me at the very least is something you have in your arsenal to use occasionally. At the most, you use it all the time, like me with my double guitar and some of my touring guitars. But anyway, I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming out each week and the incredible support that I've gotten. And I'm here to honestly help you on guitar. Speed Kills works, but it works because it's an honest attempt to say this is how I do it. And now I'm older, and I can still do it because I still use what I say I used. I use Speed Kills, those exercises, those concepts today, just like I did all those years ago, and they still work great. I'm still super fast, never hurt myself. And so I hope you get something out of this. If you want just playing and none of my talking, get the Speed Kills programs. I've got 11, 12, 13 programs. And so, what's that?
Link in the description.
Oh, yeah. It's in the description. Yeah. Adam just told me. And Adam's a great guitar player too, but he's a video guru as well. So, we're multi-streaming this. But if you want just the exercises, no talking, it's not an opinion for me. It's just you want to learn alternate picking. This is the best way to do it. That's it. And then there are other ways, of course. There's other great teachers out there. My way of Speed Kills is based on my degree, and it's based on methodologies from well over a century of piano playing and how virtuosos were taught in the past. And it's a different idea than a lot of teachers. You know, they separated the technique from the music. And then they did, Bach wrote pieces, the 2 and 3 part invention, symphonias, the well-tempered clavier, but he wrote pieces for students. Why do you think I wrote No Boundaries? It was my take on what Bach did. I used ideas that I had learned that worked for well over a century that were just modernized. I just did the electric guitar version of a piano book 100 years ago. The same methodology, different ideas, a different song. But anyway, thank you very much. I'll be here next week. I'm Michelangelo Badio. I'm Joey.